On Central News tonight, 150 years of Hamilton City. Has the settlement pattern changed in the Bay of Plenty? Keeping youth off the streets in Huntly, and a local youth fighting bullying with his music. Kia ora, welcome to Central News for Friday the 24th of October. I'm Hilary Entwistle. A big party is being planned to celebrate Hamilton's 150th birthday. Planning is well underway. So Anne-Marie spoke with Tracy Wood from the Hamilton City Council to find out what we can expect on November the 22nd.
We're going to see the biggest party that we've had here for a very long time. This is our opportunity to say, happy birthday Hamilton, 150 years is significant, and what will the future look like? So it's a celebration of past and present and really future, I guess.
Hamilton CBD is going to be closed to traffic. What time is it going to be all kicking off?
So the event happens from 3 till 9 p.m. So everything kicks off at 3 o'clock, although road closures will be in earlier to allow us to get everything up and running for you. But 3 till 9 is the main event, and then we finish with fireworks at 9 o'clock.
Fantastic. Now I understand that's happening over the river.
Indeed, it is. So off the river, we'll launch all the fireworks, and you should be able to see them from pretty much anywhere in the city, we're hoping. We're looking for a big display.
That will be amazing. Now, after 9 p.m, that kind of signals the end of the family zone, if you will. And then I understand Riff Raff is getting in on the party also.
Riff Raff is having a party all of his own, in fact. It happens to be 10 years since the Riff Raff statue was installed here in Hamilton, so it's kind of fitting that Riff Raff gets to have his own wee party. So what happens is, at the end of the family-focused event, we then roll into another event in Victoria Street, opposite the Riff Raff statue, so in Embassy Square, where Richard O'Brien will lead a mass time warp for the city.
Fantastic. Now, do you have to register for this mass time warp?
We would be keen to know who's going to be involved, and Riff Raff, of course, has his own website, so you can leap on there and let them know what's going on. We're also encouraging people to dress, so if you'd like to dress up for the occasion, that would also be a great thing to do.
I've got to ask, is our Honourable Mayor, Julie, going to be taking part?
Indeed she will. Indeed she will. We're expecting that there will be lots of people taking part. We've had lots of interest, not just from here in Hamilton, but actually nationally, because Riff Raff, our statue, has a great appeal. You know, people love Riff Raff. And having Richard lead the time walk for us is just another great thing.
Now, the council's teamed up with other organisations to organise this day. Tell me about that.
A party of this size can't happen with just one group of people, and we've been really fortunate. So we've linked with a lot of community organisations to access volunteers and support people on the day. We're working with Sport Waikato, we're working with the university, with Rotary, with Volunteering Waikato, with a lot of our community funders, which, you know, are absolutely integral to an event like this. We can't do it without them. With the Hamilton Central Business Association, because of course the retailers are really closely involved with what we're doing. So it really is a family party put together by a large family of event organisers, I suppose.
Now, of course, everyone knows that after a party, you've got the clean-up.
We have, and this party will be no different. There will be a lot of work that needs to go on after the event to bring the CBD back into its state ready for work the next day. However, we have engaged a company called Green Event, and one of the things that we're working with them on is a really good way to recycle and waste minimise for the event proper. So we'll set up stations where people can very clearly recycle, you know, into different containers. We'll be encouraging them to have certain litter in certain places, and we'll also be working with retailers in terms of what disposable items they use on the day.
For more information, go to hamilton150.co.nz. A housing accord has been signed off between the government and Tauranga City Council, allowing the consent process to be sped up. Smart Growth is the spatial plan for the Western Bay Plenty sub-region. I spoke with Mayor Stuart Crosby to see if the settlement pattern has changed and if this will affect the housing accord.
Well, that's interesting. The government was saying that there's a land supply issue, and there probably was in Auckland. Through our growth management strategy, Smart Growth, we don't have a land supply issue. We had an affordability issue, mainly because of our high productive soils with dairy farms and kiwi fruit orchards as well. And so it took some explaining to the government that a farmer or an orchardist isn't going to rip up their productive land to grow houses unless there's a financial benefit. So that drives up the raw land price. So we believe we did not have a land supply issue, but we are using the Accord, as I say, to utilise and support our growth management strategy. So again, there's probably about 20 redundant sites around our city within our existing areas, so we're going to use the Accord for that. In the meantime, Smart Growth will chug on, and at the moment we're doing a big piece of work which looks ahead for the next 20 years in terms of where the urban growth should happen, and it's called the Settlement Pattern Review. So we're using the Accords to support Smart Growth, not override it, and I think that's very important.
Where are the patterns changing?
It'll be in the usual areas. So in our city, it could be in Bethlehem, it could be Pies Pa, Ohauiti, and definitely on the coastal strip heading down eastern Papamoa, where we have a big urban area called Wairaki, and the next planned one is called Titumu. So this settlement pattern review will decide when we go to the next areas.
These areas, are they actually council owned land?
It's a mixture. We do own a couple of sites. The Ministry of Education actually has a site, a school site that's not required, so we're looking to unlock that, and all the rest are in private ownership.
Does that not ring alarm bells when, if you're putting more houses in, you're increasing the population, therefore you may need a new school?
Most of the sites are quite small. So in our accord with the government, we're looking for 1,000 new sites over 2 to 3 years, with 400 in the first year. Now, to put that in context, we will build about 1,000 houses by the end of this year, December to December. And so these accords and the development will actually quite have a strong influence on our housing market, and that's also been deliberate to create some price tension around the city to assist in the affordability area. So if you put all your eggs in one basket, one or two developers control the market, we're going to open it up a lot more and put some tension in there as well.
And how are the property developers and real estate agents, how's that community actually taking this whole housing accord?
Well, they've actually embraced it, and a number of property developers have come to us and said, look, we've been talking to these property owners, but it's been a bit difficult to get through a consenting process. Can you utilise the accord process to speed things up? So it's been a collaborative project between the government, the council and the development community.
As we spread out into these greenfield areas, are we looking at becoming another Auckland, sprawled across the Bay Plenty? Eventually are we going to be connected to Katikati and Te Puke?
There's no doubt that the upper North Island, and let's say from the north of Auckland all the way down through the Waikato into the Bay of Plenty, particularly here on the coastal strip, is going to continue to grow. And as they grow, communities will become linked. And so our role is to master plan all that, to make sure that the roads are in place, the infrastructure is in place, the sport recreational areas, libraries and all that, all the other facilities are in place as our city and other cities will grow.
You can view the Housing Accord on the Council's website, tauranga.gov.nz. Coming up next, Waihi Gold and an inspirational local keeping youth off the streets. Welcome back to Central News on TV Central. This spring, Waihi welcomed in the opening of the new Gold Discovery Centre. Eddie Morrow from the centre talks to Amanda Harper about what visitors can expect when they walk through the doors.
So, Amanda, the Gold Discovery Centre has been set up as a information and visitor portal. So when they first walk through the door, they can expect to see within a matter of a few seconds exactly all the wonderful things there are to do in our area and our region.
Okay. And how's it been since the centre opened a few weeks ago?
It's been going fantastically well. We opened the centre specifically for the school holidays, which started about 3 weeks ago now. and visitors are coming in. The timing for the school holidays was just absolutely fantastic. Lots of people through the door, lots of families, lots of children, exactly what we were hoping, which was fantastic. Yeah.
And how many people have come through already?
So we're pretty much online for what our expectations are. It's always a bit difficult, of course, with a new business because you're doing a little bit of guesswork and expectations and forecasts and all that sort of thing. But we're probably have been averaging about 100 people a day, which is really, for us, pretty much online for what we would expect, which is, just great, really.
That's a really good amount. Now, have there been any unexpected hurdles with the opening of the centre?
Yeah, good question. Luckily, fingers crossed, no. We've been watching all of the technology and all of the delivery of the exhibition itself, if you like, in the Discovery Centre to make sure that there are no major things. Little bits of tweaking here and there on things with, minor things like volume and all that sort of carry on, but no, nothing major at this stage, and we don't expect either. Let's hope we can just carry on with just the minor tweaking over the next little while.
And what's been the general opinion of visitors to the centre?
So generally, and really positive for us as a new development really, is that the general feedback has been that people are actually getting a lot more than what they expected, which is actually a nice thing for us as people who have spent many, many years now developing the project and getting ready to deliver it and then opening the doors. So people find that at the Gold Discovery Centre, the story unfolds on them, and the longer they stay, the more they find out about it. So they pop out saying, man, there was a lot to see and do down there, which is just fantastic feedback. Yeah.
So what kind of things are there to see and do?
Okay, so in the Gold Discovery Centre itself, and the name kind of describes it, it is a discovery centre. It's about people coming into an interactive and immersive and educational centre where they uncover the story of gold and why his relationship with it, why he's had a relationship with gold for probably the best part of 140 odd years now. And it's a major part of our sort of area and also region too. It's got quite a connection with the region as a whole. And so what they can expect is to unfold that story, if you like, but they've got to be physically doing things. It's not just about looking, it's about doing. So they've got to turn the knobs, push the buttons, interact with the screens and all those sort of things. And they're part of the discovery process, which is really nice. It's a way of unfolding in front of them.
So it's a bit more than a museum?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we've got a great little museum in town now that tells its story. And we always said we're not building a museum, we're building a visitor attraction in the true sense of something that helps add to our visitor offer as an area. And so the Gold Discovery Centre and iSight, which we open at the same time, does that. It's about a portal or a hub in the middle of a hub and spokes model, really, about telling people all the stuff we've got on offer.
Now, you mentioned before Waihi's relationship with gold mining over the years. Why is it important to make the most of this rich history with mining?
Well, I stated before, it's something like 140 odd years of history. So that is hard to avoid for a start because it's helped shape the town. 1878, Maccombie and Lee first discovered gold on Pukiwa at the time of the Maunga, and it's helped shape the town, and as I said, it's sort of Waihi and the surrounding area, the Karangahaki Gorge as well, all the way back through Coromandel up to Coromandel Town, also on the Coromandel Peninsula. So it is part of its life. The whole area of gold mining has built the town, shaped the town over the years. So it's not everything, but it's a fairly significant part of the picture.
The centre is located at the northern end of the main street of Waihi. See their website for more details, golddiscoverycentre.co.nz. Letari Paku has had an interesting background, from getting in trouble with the authorities as a youth to now working for an organisation that focuses on keeping youth off the streets and keeping their minds and bodies active. Amanda Harper talks to Letari about how he got to where he is today.
Why does Huntly Youth need an organisation like yours?
I think there's a whole lot of youth, and there's a whole lot of youth that aren't doing much and some that are doing a lot. So I just think they need a whole lot of organisations all together. So I think our organisation is just one of those that are chipping away at their work, that are helping to get things done for youth. So if there were more, or if there were more people that were helping out, definitely be more things to do for youth. So yeah, we're just only one of those that are just helping kind of get their work done.
Is it about collaborating with other youth services in the area?
Yeah, well that's the hope. That's the hope, to try and bring them all together, to all get, working with each other. Yeah.
So what's unique about your organisation? What makes you different to the other?
Well, we're youth working with youth, and we're youth that are able to connect, relate, engage with youth, and we have like a special thing about us where we have a whole lot of like energy. Energy is something that we work with, and we use that to our advantage to engage, like not just in the classroom environment, using whiteboard. We're really about games, hands-on, learning by touching, feeling, and that type of stuff. So I'd say yeah, that'll be one unique thing about us.
So it's having less of an adult kind of presence and more of getting down to their level.
Yeah, more of a youthful thing, and that's something that we represent too. Yeah, just kind of chilling with them, not down on their level, but being just on the level that they are with them. Yeah, not to say that adults are above youth or anything, but yeah, just being with them on their level.
Yeah. And do you find that they respond to that? They respond to you?
Yeah, I think when they see people that are there and that they're able to connect with, able to relate to, that the people are more real, not just there because their work contracts say so, and not just there because they have to be there, or just when they see people that are there because they want to be there and they're like genuine about helping. Yeah, because youth, they see through everything. They know what's real, they know what's not. Yeah, so.
Now, in the Waikato District Action Plan last year, in regards to youth, the main problems in Huntly for youth were alcohol, drugs, truancy, violence, stealing and boredom. How is your organisation, in what ways are you working with parents and families to fix these problems?
Well, let's say like one example is there's a girls group that's happening in Huntly at the moment. They meet with the girls weekly, but at the end of the term they run a program, or one of the nights is where all the girls and the workers present back to the families. They invite the families to come along, and that's how the families get to know like what the girls have been up to through the whole term, what have they learned, the things that they've done. And then another example is in the community. The community's just come together and been meeting about the issues that are happening in Huntly and how we can resolve them, like solutions to come out of that. And we've had a big part to play in all of those meetings too. So that's working with more than just the families. That's working with the whole town and the community. So we've been doing a lot of stuff like that, and I think keeping that stuff going, because it's not just the young people that you need to work with. You got to work with the family, got to work with the friends, got to work with the schools. It's a whole lot of things that that you need to do to kind of impact on just their attitude. Yes, it's more than just them.
And do you find that the parents and families are supportive?
Yeah, most are actually genuine and
want the best for their kids.
Yeah, want the best for their kids. Yeah.
For more information about Te Ahurai a Rangatahi, check out their Facebook page, facebook.com/teahurai.arangatahi. Just ahead, the weather for the weekend and an anti-bullying concert. Welcome back to Central News. On Saturday, the 13th of December, there will be a concert held in Te Aroha that a young local has organised to create awareness around anti-bullying. I spoke with him to see about his vision. James, you're organising this anti-bullying concert in December, so what has made you so passionate about anti-bullying?
What's made me passionate is that it is a community problem, but also I've been there, I've done that. I'm not a bully, but I've been bullied because of disabilities that have somehow made me an easier target.
And why then do you want to go out and actually stand up for those who are being bullied? What makes you passionate and drive that?
What drives it is the fact that the world is actually very broken. You've got wars in Syria, you've got all this other stuff you hear about on the news, but the more damaging stuff is stuff you do not hear on the news. Stuff like the fact that the bullying suicide rates have gone from 1,500 to 2,500, 3,000 in a space of 5 years. We've got a lot of people with mental illness. We've got a lot of people who have trauma over bullying circumstances. So really, someone needs to stand up for the people who actually don't get stood up for.
How do we stand up for them?
Well, it's quite simple. Really, bullying is everywhere you turn now. No thanks to technology, it comes into the home as well. You actually need to connect in with your families, you need to connect in with your friends, you need to have discussion what's going on. Because otherwise, you may as well just be playing poker on the streets.
And what about your own experience? How have you overcome the bullying?
How I overcame the bullying, I've got to be honest with you, and this is something I very rarely talk about. It's that there was a point where I was just really done. I was really not into things. I have a lifelong friend, a Flo, who's in the group. He sort of reached out and went, okay, that's really not a good move. And so he took me out of it. Music's helped a lot. Pursuing music's helped, and there's been lots of different bits and pieces happen that have done it, but music has been a huge recovery point.
So, do you write your own music?
Yeah, we've actually written 3 albums of material set for release later this month.
And a lot of those songs and pieces, are they written about your bullying experiences?
Not so much about the bullying, but they are on real life circumstances. The one that's closest is a song called You, and that was written as a song. At the time, there was a huge bullying incident happened in our school, and it pushed someone a bit too far. So if you listen to the lyrics a little more closely, it's actually trying to talk to someone who is bullying, trying to talk them out of ending a temporary problem with a permanent solution.
And I think that's what a lot of people are doing nowadays, is that that's a perfect way of putting it, ending a permanent, a temporary situation with a permanent solution. And that is what they are doing. So how do we stop that? How do we really put that across, coming from someone who has been bullied yourself?
Well, having been bullied myself, I've got to admit, don't expect it to be easy. Someone, especially with mental illness, it's never going to be easy to actually get yourself out of that pit without some help. Thing is, you've got to you can just do all the talking you want, you can do all the nagging you want, but part of it's got to come from that person as well. They've got to reach the absolute crisis point before they'll actually bring down the wall and let you win. Really, I think that, if you don't mind me saying this, people are just doing, oh, we'll save this guy, but first, let me take a selfie. That's the sort of attitude. They care more about themselves and their own popularity blame, rather than actually helping people who actually need it.
If you'd like to vote, visit surveymonkey.com. Now for our weather for the weekend. Looking at the marine forecast for Saturday now. That is Central News for today and this week. Remember, you can always get in contact with us via our Facebook page, centralnews.tv, or email us, news@tvcentral.co.nz. Next week on the show, the White Ribbon Pledge and the disturbing facts around our domestic violence rates, the Hot Pink Walk in Tauranga, and the tour of Tauranga. Until then, I'm Hilary Entwistle. I hope you have a lovely evening and a fantastic weekend.
This has been an Alpha Media production, a division of Television Media Group.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.